fundamentally from a user experience, one of the things to understand about Passwordless is that it leverages the same kind of encryption and public key cryptography technology as PGP and the whole kind of Alice and Bob stories that you might have read if you've been in security for a long time, right? So, you have a public key, you have a private key, and you have a process that you go through where your device stores your private key, and it generates a public key for the site in question, right? And so your private key is always stored and protected on your device, and that allows you to make sure that the end site, even if it is compromised, can't compromise your identity. And so there's two steps to this process. So the first step, of course, is registration, and similar to what we've talked about was like signing with Google or other things. There's a registration workflow where the user provides approval, and then a key is generated. Right, that key is then registered with the site. Right, so the website will create a challenge, right, that goes and gets combined with the user's private key, and that creates a registration key that is then able to allow the user to unlock the site at a future time. And then login, similar sort of fashion, there's a login challenge. The end device chooses the key and it completes the login. And so the big thing about this is, if you think about those two steps, at no step did the user themselves have to go through a password creation workflow, right? They went through a registration workflow, and they went through authentication validation on their device workflow using biometrics or whatever they're already familiar with, but they didn't have to go and type a password into a password manager. They didn't have to pull something out of a keychain. It was all kind of leveraged into the native capabilities built directly into the device. And so this is my kludgy way of explaining it, but fundamentally, the thing to remember is there is no shared secret between the two. It leverages this concept of public key cryptography to allow the user-owned device to leverage their private key to generate authentication proof and details, so that they can't be phished, these credentials can't be compromised, and they're protected.